Sorry, what was the...
Yeah, she quoted the verse from Daniel that I am means God.
No.
Please.
I gave him 3 instances.
Oh, the Son of Man.
Please go ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
sure.
So I was saying how there's 3 instances that Jesus says that he's God, right? He says that I am the Son of Man, which is a reference to divinity and worship in Daniel. And he says that I am, and that he says I and the God Father are one, which in the Greek word, one is inextricably joined and not two dichotomous. After that I said, I think, and prove me if I'm wrong, because I don't know much about Islam.
No problem, don't worry about
But
it.
after that I said is that sometimes what I think happens when we talk about God and we talk about Christianity is that we talk over each other and we don't understand each other. Because you know how in Islam the literal word means very much, right? How the literal word, for example, this is not the Qur'an. Only the literal Arabic words are the Qur'an. Am I correct on that?
Yes and no. When you talk about the literal word, okay, one needs to understand the usage of language is determined by many things. When you are talking about whether it is the Bible or the Quran or the Gita of the Hindus, whichever it may be, you are going to have to interpret it as a book of guidance. So when you are interpreting, there are many issues that can arise. One has to attempt to get the best definitive meaning out of a particular phrase or a sentence or a verse or a paragraph.
Okay, yeah.
So I wouldn't suggest, for example, if you tell me, do you literally believe the Quran or do I literally believe the Bible?
Yes.
It's not a straightforward yes or no
You're
question.
right, yes.
Yeah.
But in the sense, maybe not literal, but the word itself, translation of that word doesn't have the same power.
No,
Okay, yes.
you are right.
Then, and you're right too, yeah, you're right in the literal. I should not have used literal.
No, not to worry.
Then, so
Happens.
when we talk, sometimes we get confused because for Christians, their translation of a word as a synonym
Yes.
has the same power
Okay.
than the actual word.
Yes.
You know, translation.
Yeah. Agreed.
So I think sometimes when people, Muslims read the Gospels, they think Jesus didn't claim to be God,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Because he never said God.
Yes,
But for
understood.
Christians, they see the lineage in the Old Testament. They see the meaning of the word,
Yeah.
and for them it is God.
Yeah.
So,
Understood.
and,
Understood.
yeah, okay.
I can understand. Sorry. What is your name,
I
sister?
just really wanted you to quote this verse from Daniel, which is that this is the proof that he is. The meaning on this verse is he is God. Did you? And
I'm sorry, sister. What a nice name, meaning life.
Life, yeah.
I'm Shabir.
Okay, he was asking about this passage, which Jesus applies to himself.
Right, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And this was a passage that I used as
Okay.
proof. And I guess he just
Right, yeah, the brother, right. No, the way I look at it, and I agree with what you said about the nature of language, etc. But one of the things that we have to bear in mind is that when something has been translated, as you rightly pointed out, if an issue arises in terms of the interpretation or the translation of the particular word, phrase, paragraph, how can we resolve it best?
How can we resolve?
Yeah, if me and you, for example, had a disagreement as to the content of this translation, here the translated word, how best can we reconcile our disagreement?
Well, find another translation and see if it says the same thing.
Well, if we take the New World Translation of the Jehovah's Witnesses, we will find exactly. You see, now you will see, sister, you are right.
That is the only bad translation of the Bible.
Yeah, unfortunately, you have just agreed with me that it can happen. Now, the point, the question here.
What can I call you?
Shabir. That's my name. Yeah,
Can I just call you
you can call me Robert Redford. I don't mind. No problem. I'm Shabir. Okay. But basically, what I'm saying is, what is the best that we can do to reconcile our difference?
Okay, well, for that, I think the best thing would be, And I think for this one, Muslims have done a good job where you can only go right to the main source, right?
Okay.
So for Greek, we go straight to the Greek manuscripts.
Absolutely.
So
You are absolutely right. Now here is where the problem arises, okay? For example,
No, I don't want that.
basically the problem arises here. For example, I will just come back to the verses you had talked about.
Yeah.
One of them you talked about was I and my Father are one.
Yes.
Okay, and you went on to say that in Greek, yes, it is talking about an inseparable unity. Okay, now I would ask you, and it's a difficult question, I accept, and I don't expect you to answer it, but you never know. You look a very intelligent lady, but let's see. Verse 20, this is taken from the Gospel of John chapter 10 verse 30. What does verse 29 say? Have a look. John chapter 10, verse 30 is the verse I and my Father are one. What does it say at verse 29? 10. Verse 30. Brother, can I ask you to grab this, please? Sorry. Yeah.
29, you what, brother?
I know.
All right, my
You're asking
father.
them, sorry.
Sorry.
My father who has given me.
MashaAllah, that's why I called it.
Let's see what it says here. My Father who has given them to me is greater than all. No one can snatch them out of my Father's hand. I and the Father are one.
Okay.
And the Jews picked up stones to stone.
That's verse 31. Okay. But now,
The Jews picked up stones.
yeah, if I can just, now you see, this is the point I'm making. Absolutely right. Now verse 30 says, I and my Father are one. Verse 29 says, no one can pluck them out of my Father's hands. Prior to that, he says, no one can pluck them out of my hands. Okay. This incident actually starts at verse 23, when the Jews came round him and told him, if you are who you claim you are, the Messiah, please tell us plainly. He says at verse 24, I told you, many of good works of mine have shown you that. Okay, the sheep that know me follow me, the ones that don't won't. No one can pluck them out of my Father's hands, no one can pluck them out of my hands. I and my Father are one. As she read verse 31, the Jews took up stones to stone him.
Yes.
Now the next verse, it says, Jesus Christ asks them, for which of the good works do you stone me? Many of good works have I shown you. For which of the good works do you stone me?
32.
The Jews say, for a good works we stone you not, but for blasphemy. For after being a man, you make yourself a god.
Very good at the Bible, by the way.
Don't worry about that. It's just one of those things, Arguing with the dear wife gets you very far. But anyway, this is what, okay? Now, listen to the language here, okay? He says, I and my Father are one. They pick up stones to stone him. Now, according to what you said in Greek, it is actually indicating divinity. Okay?
No, I said. Okay,
Indicating,
okay,
Not, you didn't say specifically, but indicating. So at verse 31, they pick up stones. Why do they pick up stones? They tell him, after you being a man, you are making yourself equal to God or a God. Okay? Now, according to Jesus Christ, I'm sure you will agree with me that Jesus would not lie, would he?
No, he wouldn't.
Would he conceal information?
Probably, yeah.
You would think that. We'll see why. Okay? So he says, many a good works have I shown you. For which of the good works do you stone me? For a good works we stone you not, but for blasphemy. After being a man, you are making yourself a God. Now, they have made an accusation, haven't they? Jesus Christ is hearing the accusation. Logically speaking, if he was what he claimed he was according to them, what should he have said? Yes, I am.
Yeah.
He didn't. It's a strange one. What does he say to them?
Well, then what do we...
He says, is it not written in your law? I said ye are gods. Why did he say that? Have a look.
34. Verse 34.
Verse 34.
We'll read on them.
No, we will be going further.
Blasphemy again.
Going further?
Yes, he wasn't his time, so he uses an argument, and then he goes on to say exactly the same thing in different words, and the Jews pick up stones again to stone him.
Does he say, I am son of God?
Yeah, he keeps saying, I'm son of God.
Yeah. Now,
Can you show me what you're saying? 'Cause
verse
I had
34.
trouble, like, yeah.
Don't worry, I'm like you, but I'm on the older end of the scale. So,
The word
can
of
I?
God.
Yeah.
It's at verse 34.
Okay.
Sorry, sister. Can I just?
It's here.
Chapter 10, verse 30.
Brother.
Yeah, here, verse 34, Jesus answered him, is it not written in your law, I have said you are gods? If he called them gods to whom the word of God came, and the scripture cannot be broken, what about the one whom the Father set apart as his very own and sent into the world? Why then do you accuse me of blasphemy because I said I am God's son? Now, he tells them, you got it wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not claiming divinity. In the same sentence, he then goes on to say, the scripture cannot be broken. He's quoting from Psalm, 82 verse 6, okay? He's saying to the people, look, this is what God had said. You don't find any objection to that because they believed in the Old Testament. Why are you finding an objection in me simply saying, I'm the Son of God, okay? Now, question, did he claim divinity?
Uncle, can I call you uncle?
Carry on.
Satyanas kar diya mera. No problem, you can. No problem, you can, of course. Yeah.
I'd get in trouble if I
Uncle,
did it.
no problem.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I said, Robert Redford will do fine, but it's alright.
बुरे तो नहीं हो.
नहीं, कोई बात नहीं.
But okay, so let's just say you're right. Okay, let's just say.
As an example, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that still doesn't make sense though in the overall picture, because I think you would say we have to understand contextually, right?
Agreed.
And so that still doesn't make sense when we talk about Daniel and the
Yeah.
Son of Man.
Okay.
And even when they're talking to Pilate, you know?
Yes.
And Pilate, he said, talking to Pilate because he's being accused
Yes.
of being the Son of Man, and he doesn't. He
He remains
deny it.
silent, yes.
Yeah, he remains silent,
Yes.
which is like famous.
Yes,
you
of
know,
course
he
it is.
remains
Yeah.
silent. Like, I understand what you're saying.
Yes.
But I don't exactly accept all.
I accept what you are saying,
But
Rani.
contextually,
Yeah.
there is more, like for example, Son of Man, Jesus calls himself throughout consistently in the Gospels, right?
Yeah.
Then we have these other moments. Why? Because of this one moment,
True.
which I don't exactly accept. But
Yeah.
why? Because of this one moment, should we assert that God?
No. That's only one. And I agree with you if we look at it contextually. You see, as I told you, when we have an issue on which we disagree about a certain point, is it not the best thing to do? What is the best thing to do? To go back to what we would consider to be the original text.
Yeah.
Now, what does the original text say should take precedence over the interpreted or translated word where there is a disagreement? Yeah? Okay. Now, for example, this one, I and my father are one. He makes it very clear in the exceeding verses, he didn't mean it the way they have understood it. But the odd thing here is this. They claimed he was claiming divinity. He retracted it. He says to them, no, I didn't say that.
Well, he doesn't necessarily say that though, right? It's kind of like, like it's like situational conversation, right?
He concealed it.
He did conceal it, yeah.
That's what you say.
Well, he didn't necessarily. It's like situationally, right? When you're conversating, we're talking right now.
Yes.
I said, you look like you're from Mumbai, and you laugh and you say, oh, I'm not from Mumbai, right? Does that necessarily mean you're not Indian? Like, and I'm not saying
Agreed.
you're
No.
Indian, right?
Yeah, excuse me, I'm Indian. Thank you. But let me tell you something. If I was from Mumbai, what should I have said?
Said, I am from Mumbai. Yeah.
If he was the claimed divinity, what should he have said?
He should have said, I am the Son of God.
So he said you are saying he concealed it.
He did conceal it. Yeah.
Right. What was the reason?
Well,
Sorry.
wasn't
Oh, sorry. Just as handsome, another one. I'm being surrounded by beautiful people today.
well?
So we'll
Sorry, what was
bring up
that?
Lots of other
Right, now, look,
references,
no problem,
to
we can
Jesus, talking
sorry,
about
sister,
divinity,
we can
and
address-
you can,
No problem, we can
show us
address.
where we're wrong.
if I can just say one thing,
I
sister.
think
Go ahead, please.
I'm Kevin, by the way.
I'm Shabir. Nice meeting you, sir.
Well, I know that during that time period that there was a lot of pressure from the Roman government because there had already been a lot of riots at that time.
Okay.
And the Roman government...
In a historical context.
Yes, in a historical context. There were a lot of riots, and the reigning powers of Caesar in Jerusalem
at that time
was a bit on edge because of all the other riots. He was receiving a lot of pressure
Understood.
from Rome. So I believe that the reasoning behind Jesus not saying "I am God" is to not instill a riot.
Okay.
Jesus doesn't, as he says frequently, he doesn't all out turn to violence. He keeps preaching to not riot. He doesn't want any of that on his hands. So I think that's the reason that
your reasoning sounds valid. However, I would suggest that you need to consider the facts as they are. For example, are you aware, historically speaking, the Jews had been given permission by the governing authority then to carry out their own law? Yes. Are you familiar with that? Yes. Did they have the authority to put Jesus to death?
No, they didn't.
Yes, they did, according to their law. They had authority.
To their law. Yes.
They did, okay? In fact, to the extent that the Jews were left to their own devices, okay? When Jesus Christ was making this, or was having this discussion, he was not having it with the Romans, he was having it with the Jews, his own people. So there isn't this issue about him potentially creating a riot. And not only that, as the verse, I'm sure this is a famous verse, it is expedient for one to die than the whole nation. Okay? I'll come back to that. Yeah? The question here is not that. The issue here is about what is being said. As you rightly pointed out, I would contend to you that Jesus Christ, when he said, I and my Father are one, he was not alluding to divinity of any kind. Why am I saying that? In support of what I am saying, the Gospel of John chapter 17 verse 20 to 22 makes that clear. He says, Father, as I am in you, one, let all the disciples be one in us, so that we all, if I can just finish, so that we all...
Correct reading, please, of that.
By all means, go to it. Yeah? But you will find that he is saying, John 17.
We'll have the reference for that, please.
Yeah.
Can you give it to me?
What is it?
John chapter 17, verse
Just
17, 20?
Yeah.
17, 20, 22.
There you are. Can I read it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Verse 22, I have given them glory that you gave me, that they may be one as we are one. I in them and you in me, may they be brought to complete unity to let the world know. Now, when it is saying there, as I am with you one, let them be also with us one. Which unity are you talking about?
May they be one as we are one.
Okay,
Does
I'll read it.
Say,
I will read it again.
I and my disciples be one with you.
That all of them may be one, Father, just as you are in me and I am in you. May they also be in us.
May they be, okay.
Well, who is he speaking to?
Yes.
She's-
May they
she's
be.
how-
Look, I appreciate.
He said, may one.
And they should be one in humanity.
How are you? Are you okay? Good.
Yes. So he's saying that Jesus
Sister.
and the Father are one in divinity.
Sister, with
And
respect,
they
your belief you are entitled to, but the facts are talking a different story. Sorry, sister, if I can just finish. Now you see, the point I'm making is that the verse is actually talking about a different kind of oneness. Now, if I can take it a bit further.
Divinity of oneness.
Yeah, sure.
Jesus and the Father.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah?
Can I just highlight what
Of
we've
course
gone
you can.
Okay. So we talked about you talked about the first verse, and you said that Jesus was concealing.
No, I didn't say that. I said, do you think he was concealing? Yeah, you said yeah. It's very rude to intervene like this. Give us a bit of time, sir, and I'll come back to you. Yeah? Thank you very much. Well, what I was suggesting to you is, look, if the verse says that, I asked the question, do you think he was concealing? Yeah? If I was